One of the things I use the salvage wood for is making frames. This is old beadboard out of the Clifton house. It was on the ceiling for it, and we've used this to make frames for pictures, art, for mirrors, and also for farmhouse signs. And what we're going to do, this has got a little bit of paint left on it. This particular piece doesn't have much, so I'm just going to cut these in 45s to the length that I need. I need 19.5 by 15.5 to make the frame I need. And then I'm just going to use some underlayment, the $14 4x8 sheet that you can get down at your hardware store. And that's what I'm going to use as the backer for this. On this particular board, there's a groove side and a tongue side. I'm going to use the groove side as my inner angle. Now I'm just going to flip that. You can see kind of this fun green and the wood grain. There's been several different coats of paint on this. It's awesome. So the inside of my angle needs to be 15.5, because if I measure 15.5 out here on the outside, this is the outside of the frame, it's going to be way too long. So this inside part of the frame is what I want to be 15.5. And I need two sections that are that long. Okay, so these are my 15.5 inch sections. I need two 19.5 inch sections, and then I'll put it all together. Got my 4 boards cut. Just going to do a little bit of glue here, just a small bead. Most of the strength is going to come from when I put the back on. Okay, so I got my bead of glue on there. I'm going to hit it with a staple from right here to kind of just hold it together until I get the back on. These are 1.5 inch 18 gauge. And I'm going to put another one in through this way. I'm going to do that on every single corner. This is a cutout of that underlayment I'm always talking about. I was feeling lazy, so I had the guy down at Home Depot cut it down for me. He's cut it to 19 inch widthwise. I've got to take it down to 23.5 to fit my frame, and then I'll just cut that with the circular saw. Okay, so I got the backer board cut. That's going to be the frame there. So Jami is going to paint this black, and then she's going to distress and bring some of this color back through, and then you can kind of see it's wiggling right there because I only have staples up in here. Once she gets this painted black, what I'm going to do is I'll come in and I'll run the staple for the backer all along here, and then our picture will sit right here in the center and just look great and won't have any issues flexing or anything like that.
Alright, so I'm using my Paint Pixie 1 3/4 brush. This is Fairy Chalk Mother's Best Black. I poured it from a larger container. It's a nice matte black, and it goes on nice and thick, so one coat should cover this. It's got a little bit of a chippy finish underneath, so when I sand it, some of that paint will come off and I'll have kind of a chippy finish on top. The finish underneath wasn't bad because this is just old beadboard from outside, but I want all my frames to be black. And sometimes you'll see me going like opposite directions to get paint down into places, but I always go back over it and touch up my brush strokes. So when I'm all done, I go like this and like this. One continuous stroke. It just makes it look neater. So to buy this paint, go to JamiRayVintage.com, look under chalk paint, which is where all my Fairy Chalk Mothers is, and look up Best Black. And if you're looking for any Paint Pixie brushes, just type in Paint Pixie or look for brushes, you can find them. Little trick, when I'm in between projects, I don't want to wash my brush, I just put it in a Ziploc bag. That way I'll be ready for the next one. I'm only going to do one coat on this because one coat is plenty of coverage, but I've got 4 more frames to do. So as Zeb gets them finished, I'll get them painted and we'll be ready to assemble our picture frames. So my paint is dry and I'm ready to distress. The cool thing is, because this was aged chippy beadboard, I've got paint underneath that will show through when I distress the piece. And then once I'm done distressing, I'll get all the dust off and we'll take it inside because it's super cold out here. Okay, I'm gonna take it inside and then I'm gonna seal it with Sweet Pickins top coat because that's a super matte, flat top coat. And I don't want any shine, I just want it to look chippy and old. So I've got my orbital sander. I've got 220, sad 220 sandpaper. And I'm using a DeWalt, but we used a Black & Decker for a long time. So if you're looking for an orbital, you don't have to buy the most expensive. Just depends on how much you're going to be using it. Okay, so that's it. We are ready to wipe off the dust and get it sealed. The next step is to seal it. I've got my Sweet Pickins top coat in my red cup because I've got a whole gallon, and sometimes you don't get all the dust away and you don't want to contaminate a whole gallon of sealer. So always pour your top coat into something disposable. I like this because it's super flat and matte. It goes on kind of milky but dries nice and clear. If you don't have this, you could also use DIY's Liquid Patina. Is also a very matte finish. So either one will do. And because these are just picture frames, I'm just gonna put one coat on nice and thick. Well, not thick. You don't want too thick, but I'm just gonna do one coat to seal it. It's not like I'm gonna be scrubbing them. And I'm kind of just going over and making sure before it dries that I've got the paint, got it going in the direction I want. This is so chippy that you won't see my brush strokes anyways. And the thing about this top coat is when it dries completely, it will almost look like it's not top coat at all. It is super matte, but it is waterproof. And I know that because I used it on my coffee table downstairs and my kids spilled water all over it and they leave like cups on it and I haven't gotten any damage. If you were doing like a table or something that was gonna be abused, I would suggest about 3 coats, but in this case, 1 will do. So also, I always get asked what brush I'm using. I'm just using my chiseled zebra brush. We carry these at JamiRayVintage.com. We also carry the sealer I'm using and the paint I used. Our frame is dried and sealed. The next step is to start assembling. Okay, so we've got our frame all sealed. We've got our picture here. This is the back of it. I had it printed at Costco. It's a 16 by 20 and it was $6.95. And then we've also got this Loctite spray adhesive. It's my absolute favorite. We bought it at Walmart. We've used a bunch of different kinds, but this one definitely works the best. So you're gonna wanna hit all the corners and then the middle. Typically you would do this outside, but I'm doing it inside because it's 12 degrees and it's way too cold to be working on this. Make sure it's pretty well centered. Zeb's on the other side. Does that look good?
Yep.
Okay, you want to make sure your hands are clean. I've washed my hands because this is a poster. And we are not putting glass on it. You could use a router and inset glass if you wanted to in your frame. But we're going to switch these out, and for $6.95, I'm not super worried about it. And isn't he cute? These are the pictures. If you follow me on social media, one day we decided that we needed family pictures, so we just took our fancy camera and Zeb just shot them, and we did a little bit of editing, but not too much prep, really easy peasy pictures. We actually are doing a total of 5 of these, so you'll see them up on our wall. We've got one for each kid. All right, so Zeb will figure this out and get it all centered, but here's the frame on it, and he's gonna show you how to staple it back on and then how to get it up on your wall.
Now that Jamie's glued these onto the back, I'm just going to add the frame to the back on that. And that looks, I purposely made the backer about 1 inch big all the way around. Once I get it centered where I want, make sure that all the edges are covered well. I'll just slide this off and flip it, holding it tight. Then just 1/2 inch staples right here along the edge. And I'll do 2 there. And these staples here are what's going to give this corner strength on the frame. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart. I'll do all my corners first. Then I'll go back through and do just a couple along the edge. That'll help keep this backer board from moving around or warping or anything. All right, there it is. Now I'm going to hang it. The overall width of the picture frame is 26 inches, so I've got a mark right here at 13 inches, and that's where I'm going to put my French cleat. Now it's kind of jagged on this edge because I just took a long cleat and cut it down. I like to buy the long ones and cut them down because it saves a lot of money. Now we'll just go hang this on the wall.
The next part of this video is going to be mostly zib, because if I had to line things up, it'd be all, because my brain just doesn't work neat and evenly. So Zeb, I talked about doing like 5 across, but it actually takes up the entire span of this wall, including the portion that goes under this little opening. And I think that we're probably going to do a like barn type door here that closes off this hallway. So I'm starting from right here where the barn door will go, and I'm measuring all the way over to this edge. So center is going to be right here where Jack's picture is, and I'm going to do the 3 oldest kids on the top and the 2 younger on the bottom. So I feel like that will kind of balance out the gallery wall a little bit, and maybe later on I can add something like on each side to make it like a full square. We'll see, but for now that's how we're going to do it. Zeb's going to show you how to attach the French cleats, and we'll get them up on the wall.
It's convenient that we've got these nice straight lines on here, so all I have to do is find where the center is, which I've got the painting here, 56 inches. I'm just going to kind of trace my finger up. Right there is center on my wall. Uh-oh. Alright, so that's the wall side of the French cleat. Make sure it's level with this little spirit bubble that's there.
Our gallery wall is complete.
It's like we're taking a family picture here right now. We're all here.
Yeah, and you can do the same thing. If you don't have kids or you don't have 5 kids or whatever, just switch it out for some other photography or posters or saying or anything that you like. As long as it's not copyrighted, Costco will print it out for you. You can also do it in black and white. These are 16 by 20s, and they're 16 by 20s, and they're $6.95 a piece.
Yeah, so we tried all over the place to get engineer prints, and it's kind of a hassle. You got to order online, they ship it to you. Nowhere locally, at least here in Utah, would print them for us. I like the color pictures anyway. It kind of gives some color down here to this monochromatic black and white thing you had going on.
Absolutely, and this is more of a family room, so I've got a bunch of different colors going on here. Be sure to go to JamiRayVintage.com to pick up the paint, the sealer, the brush that I used. I used Best Black, I used Sweet Pickins Top Coat, and a zebra brush. If you don't have this, you can pick up trim at Home Depot.
Yeah, trim, you'd probably be another $30 for trim to do all of this.
Yeah, and then the back is underlayment, also from Home Depot. Don't forget Loctite is the spray adhesive we used. You're going to want to use that because it's the absolute best. And then the hardware is just a big long French cleat that Zeb cut up. You could buy individual ones if you wanted to. We're just cheap.
Yes. All right, well, make sure you guys are subscribed so that you get the notifications. Hit the notifications bell. It'll tell you.
It's over here.
Yeah, it'll tell you when we have new videos and lives. Coming up, we're getting ready for a market here in 1st of March, and that's what's going to be in our next few videos. So if you're interested in getting kind of into this business of flipping furniture and selling crafts and things like that, we'll show you kind of what we pick and what we want to take to a market and how we get ready for that. So that's
or if you're just nosy and you're wondering what we're up to. So make sure you hit the notifications button so you don't miss out. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down on how you like this gallery wall. And definitely comment below with any questions that you have on any DIY project you're working on or this project. We're happy to help you. Be sure to subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.